April. And we are recording, and good afternoon. This is Wellness Perspectives by Energetically in Harmony, and I am Patty Matsumoto, and I'm here with Patty Reuther. Just by coincidence, it's a Patty and Patty show today. And Patty is an amazing romance author, and she has two books in works. One coming this April, Dance to the Wilder Beat, and Sound of a Wilder Silence. So we get bloopers too, sometime this fall. And so while we're talking about bloopers, I just want to let everyone know that our videos are going to be unedited. And so if we have bloopers, enjoy them. What Patty's going to be helping us with today is she's going to be talking about tips and tricks to help highly sensitive children through brain development transitions. She is a former biomedical engineer with certifications in secondary education, Reiki healing, taught the 6th grade, master level science courses, and also a very interesting topic that we're going to be reviewing in a future show, navigating the workplace as women in engineering. But today, once again, she's going to share with us tips and tricks to help highly sensitive children through brain development transitions. And I'm going to have her start with talking a little more about her path and how she got to where she is today. So
thank you very much, Patty.
You're welcome.
My path has been a winding road. When I was in 1st grade, I transferred from private school to public school. And so they put me through all these IQ tests and I got tapped as brilliant, which didn't mean anything to me or my parents at the time, but it gave me an educational coach. And my educational coach helped me through all of these transitions and gave me opportunities such as testing to take early university classes so that I could reach my full potential. And I'm so grateful to have gone to the school district that I went to that graduated 3,000 kids at a time so that I had a plethora of opportunities. And I would like to give that to other kids. And I'm going to say kids in a very loose sense because your crown chakra opens at age 41. So technically I get to be a kid still. But I want to give them those days that are transitioning the ability to put your best foot forward, because nothing's worse than being given an opportunity and you're not up to your best potential because you feel just gross. And so I want to give you tools that you could use at home with exercise, breathing, meditation, things that aren't expensive, that don't require a lot of equipment, just to help them through.
Perfect. All right, so tell us a little bit about what your view is about a highly sensitive child. What does that look like?
Well, for every child, they're going to go through a development in fits and spurts. Whether it's Maria Montessori looking at it as an educator's perspective, or Janet Green looking at it through energetically, or Carl Jung looking at it through the psychiatric lens, you're going to have these jumps up and then a plateau, jumps up and then a plateau. And those plateaus are what all the scientists like to study, because the subjects are compliant, everything's at homeostasis, you have a nice control group. No one talks about those big jumps when you're just ugly, when you are Godzilla and you can't help it. And that is what I want to touch on. I want to get down into the muck and help you be on that plateau because you have balance.
Fantastic. What made you so passionate about picking this topic?
Because I hate seeing children struggle, basically.
And did you want to share your experiences personal about that?
I did have a rough time with the middle school transition between having your own locker, having to carry your own books, going from class to class is just one layer. That's also when I had my biggest boost of brain development. I went from slacker, don't care kid, having my eyebrow pierced to straight A's all the time. And when I went through that year of transition, it hit me mentally, physically, socially, spiritually, energetically. And I had an educational coach who was like, let me help you. Let me give you the big hug and let me help you through this. And it was only because I was tapped as a first grader that I had that. I was less than 1% of the kids in my school district that had someone like that on standby. And that's just not fair.
No.
It's not.
Yeah. So how did you develop what, I guess, so there's a lot of people out there that are stuck. We talk about the highly sensitive child, which grows up to be a highly sensitive adult. And so, yes, we're talking about children, but we're also talking about people like us that feel exponentially, all senses, not just the one. And so talk a little bit about what your biggest issue was with the sensitivity as an adult.
I'm a hair twirler and I'm a leg bouncer and I'm a ring twirler and I'm a necklace player. And because I talk like this and I move like this, they think I'm stupid. And then I'll start using these long scientific terms and it puts people off. They don't know how to categorize me. So if I can get my senses under control so that I can sit here with eye contact and talk to you with the social norms that I'm supposed to have, you can focus on what I'm saying, not the way I'm sitting.
Gotcha.
And so I think that, especially going into biomedical engineering as young as I did, I mean, I started working in biodefense when I was 21. I already had a knock. So to go in there and twirl my ponytail around as I talk just set myself up for failure. Mm-hmm. And so I had to keep myself contained and in balance, even when I was going through more and more transitions. That third eye chakra opens up in your mid-20s, right when you're starting your first job.
So, yeah, got it. So let's talk about the third eye chakra for those people that don't know. How would you sum that up? Not that we can really, I mean, there's a lot that could be said for each chakra. I mean, there's lots of studies behind that. But for somebody out there that doesn't understand what chakras mean, explain really quick for the folks out there watching this video, what's a third eye chakra?
Your third eye chakra is going to be your intuition or your second sight, your sixth sense, the gut feeling manifesting up in your head. And so when your third eye chakra opens, the world gets loud, very loud. You start to be able to see body language as loud as the words that people are speaking. And you need to reconcile all of that. And your senses become heightened, not just the 5 senses we were taught in elementary school, but also proprioceptive and also where your body is in space. So you may start out sitting like this, talking, and then you end up talking like this to get your points across because you don't know where your body is in space. And that's what I want to help with.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to let you take it away.
Perfect.
Girl.
So I want to get you out of your chair.
Okay.
When you are starting to work with someone who's in a cytokine storm. And
explain what that is.
A cytokine storm is what happens when you have these chakra openings. You have all sorts of hormones, neurotransmitters, all the chemicals that make your brain do the wonderful things it does are flooded everywhere. My son's going through this right now because he is 10. And when you are 10, you get a huge explosion of neurons. And they all fire chemicals, these cytokines. But the recycle bins in your head don't form until you're 11 or 12. So you have a year of, and it's pumping into your limbic system. Now your limbic system is right here. You've got little tiny lymph nodes under your arm. They're also right where your legs meet your torso. And they're also right here. Interesting. So you want to stand and sit with this back. This stretch, where they stretch their hands behind them,
Yeah.
is fantastic for, I call it flushing your body. Like flushing a toilet. You're just gonna and pull the lever and flush some of those chemicals out. Now, what do we do when we work on a computer? We sit like this.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're on a game controller and when you're on the phone, what are you doing to your lymph nodes? You're cutting off the junctions between them so nothing can move. So before you start talking and really lecturing to someone, you need to do some arm circles to wake these guys up. So I'm going to show you a very simple exercise. You're going to do 4 little arm circles, loop, loop, loop. 4 little loops, loop, loop, loop. But you do them straight down at 45, up 45, and up top. And then we'll come back down together. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way up. 2, 3, 4. And back down. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. And lower. 2, 3, 4. Notice the tingling on the outside of your biceps and in this part of your arm. What you have done is moved everything to your spleen.
Now, we'll say, while you were doing this, Patty, the video went woo, woo, woo. So you'll see that on the playback. But, and again, bloopers, people. This is, we're live and we're not editing anything. So go for it. Okay, back on.
So now that you have everything moved from your limbic system, you now have more room for things that are going on in your head. So when you have those cytokines releasing, because you're learning new things, you're listening to the person talking to you, those extra chemicals have somewhere to go. You have just let it filter into the body. You let that energetic grid ground itself a little bit. You're moving down toward Mother Earth and the floor. Okay. So that's a little way to get started. Now, after you have yourself grounded and you have these lymph nodes emptied, it's time to empty the bottom ones. Donna Eden calls this the spinal suspension. I call it sumo time. Ready? So you're going to put your legs apart and you're going to have your toes pointing outward and you're just going to bend your knees a little bit. You're going to lift your arms up. Inhale. And when you bring it down, you're going to shush the world. And blow all of that energy out. So when you've got a kid who's hopping mad and he doesn't know what to do, he's doing like the bouncing, get him in a sumo wrestling pose and breathe in. And blow out that anger. So you're emptying out that, in Hawaiian culture, they call it the breath, the belly breath. You're going to blow that out, get out that energy, and really move your spirit into a more neutral space. So let's do that one more time. We're going to reach in and inhale. And blow it out. All right, let's have a seat. Now you're ready to learn.
That feels good. I was cold. No, I'm not.
Yes. You have pumped blood from your extremities to your heart. You have forced your heart to move more blood into your smaller capillaries of your lungs by moving this part of your body, as well as your lymph nodes being emptied. Just making sure that the body is as active as your mind. Again, you want to balance the top chakras, they're in this area, with the bottom ones.
Okay.
So talking more about lymph node neuropathway blockages. Whoa! That sounds really scientific and really scary. But what it is when you have too many neurotransmitters firing. Maybe it's from having a very deep existential crisis with yourself, having a very emotionally impactful conversation. We talk about that a lot with middle schoolers and young high schoolers, how every conversation has so much drama. Well, they have so many chemicals to choose from. because those recycle bins, those accepting receptors have not grown in capacity or grown in number as much as the ones that are feeding and firing. So whenever you're talking about hormones, the hormones are making my child grouchy, you're really talking about these extra neurons. Now, if you're sitting in a chair like this and you don't want to get up and be like a sumo wrestler, let's say they're between classes, there's no way my students between classes would like sumo in the hallway. Never happened. You can do something a little more subtle. You could do shoulder rolls. And I'm just talking about maybe doing a little of this or maybe stretching a little. This one I actually learned from my chiropractor, and she nicknames it, "You are a Barbie doll." Now me, I'm more of an Ursula. I've never fit into the Barbie mold, but for this exercise, we'll pretend. The U part is up, so you're going to shrug up. The R is rolling. The B for Barbie is pushing them back. And then the one that everyone forgets, the doll, where you push your elbows down. Now, if you're like me and you're clicking,
Yes.
it's because you have some rigidity in your energy grid and you are moving that rigidity. So as you're a young child, you're going to have a buildup of fluid there, like the world is pushing down on you, all those expectations. When you are in middle school, you're going to have hormone buildup, and again, more expectations. But then as an adult, that's going to solidify, and that's one of the first places you're going to get arthritis, is between in this area where you have all those expectations sitting. Mm-hmm. So when I go in to do a Reiki healing, I always zoom in on this piece, and I'm going to see, it looks like mozzarella cheese to me. Cheese that strings between the grids, and it makes those fluid layers just chalky. And again, it's floating cheese. But what you can do is you can kind of push that into your lymph nodes, because the body is designed to take care of itself. If you use your body to help your body, then you are going to be a healthier individual, and you're going to have a more well-rounded, happy wellness experience than if you are constantly looking for that outside help, that outside validation. So we want to help ourselves. And then if that doesn't work, we want to go to an expert. So you've got your Barbie doll. Mm-hmm. If you're a little more adventurous, you could always do a T-stretch and stretch it out. If you start to act like Godzilla, my son gets like this, where they destroy things, they're louder than normal, slamming doors, stomping, total Godzilla, roaring instead of communicating. Are you having a good day? Ah! You know, total Godzilla, instead of being communicative. Tug on their earlobes, little tugs on the earlobes. Your ears have so many acupuncture points, and pulling them down gives an energy boost. So that's good for, did you brush your teeth this morning? Ah! Tug the earlobes down. Tugging the earlobes back from this point, not in your ears, but from the lobes back, is going to stimulate the acupuncture points for rest. You will feel this in your sacral chakra if you do it too many times. So that's why I'm like, It'll make your digestive system start to go, because you're connecting those digestive meridians and you're bringing yourself down. So tug down for up, tug back for down. Funny story, when I was in the SAT the first time, I was a marching band geek and I was not missing the Friday football game. So I spun flags until 1 a.m. and we drove back across the state. And the next morning, about 4 hours later, I took the SAT. It went fabulous. But I knew this earlobe tug. So between all of the different sections, I could do short tugs to bring myself up. And then afterwards, I was able to tug backwards to bring myself down so I could nap in the afternoon.
Nice. Very nice.
Not all kids are taught their acupuncture points. Again, I'm not using any needles, and no one is going to even look at me strange if I'm just doing this. Like, oh, she must have just got her ears pierced. Or, oh, like, no, I'm strange enough. I'm doing my acupressure. So that's another one that's not as intrusive. Also, you could do what's called a venom breath. If you are in yoga, where you open the dragon's mouth and blow it closed. Yep, blowing out that venom. A lot of times when I'm in a conversation that I don't want to have, I'll sit like this and because I'm trying not to say what I really want to say. That's a great one to have when you've already reached the point of no return. He's washed his hands in the bathroom and there's water everywhere. That one really gets my wick. When it's just water, I know that you could just mop it up, but it really gets my wick. And so I will start yelling at him about the water, and he's going to yell back that it's just water and it'll evaporate. And we're doing this. Mm-hmm. That's where this venom breath really helps, because it makes you stop, first of all. Second, it's going to get out some of that belly breath that fuels your anger. It's going to make your body rearrange, in that the blood flowing through the heart is going to go to your lungs, and it's going to do that exchange. So it's kind of doing a reset to your energy and making you go, hold on. And then whenever you have a reset of your energy like that, your body automatically does heads, shoulders, knees, and toes. Or in the energy world, crown, solar plexus, sacral root.
Yeah.
But it's our head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And by getting your body to do that, all of a sudden, all those angry, swirling, perseverating thoughts stop. And that's the key, because then you can bring it down, and all of a sudden you can say, okay, is this really about the water, or is it because I've asked him 50 times and I'm getting tired of asking him the same things over and over again?
Right.
But, in the scope of things, again, it's just like the sumo breathing that we did before, but it's a little less intrusive. You're not opening your lymph nodes down by your roots, so it's not as effective. When you do that big sumo posture, you're opening everything, and everything's moving. Now, let's say you've had a really stressful day. You've breathed through it. You've done poses. You've done so many shoulder shrugs that people are wondering what's wrong with you. Now it's the end of the day, and you're laying in bed, and you're like, yes, it's done. You're not done. The last piece is, if you've heard of a smile meditation, where you meditate and you go to each organ and say, hey, brain, how you doing? Thank you for helping me through today. You need to do that with your detox system. Most people doing a smile meditation are awesome about doing the brain, the heart, and then they just do the belly with everything kind of mixed together. But you have pushed all of this stuff through your lymph nodes to your happy spleen, which is so happy to clean for you. They are the happy butler that goes through your body and sweeps up all the stuff. And then they tell your bone marrow to make new blood cells. So it's like your happy butler. So when you're doing your smile meditation before bed, thank your spleen and shoot some energy, some warm thoughts, some positive intentions to your spleen, so that they can process everything you've dumped in there from doing this all day long. After your spleen, it's going to go to your kidneys. So that's another organ set to make sure that you smile individually. If you have a sibling close in age to you, you don't want the same present as the other one. Left kidney, right kidney. It just takes a minute. But let's say you get to bed and you're not ready to smile. You have been shoulder shrugging all day, and you've blown out so much venom that you're doing jaws, and you're still mad. You're still mad. What can you do? Don't worry, I have more. Stand up against the wall with me. And yes, I'm making you stand up now because I've been talking to you and I want your body to regulate, your lymph nodes to drain again by standing up. What we're going to do is called a wall angel. So you need a wall without a lot of hooks, and you're just going to stand against the wall. Make sure your heels touch, and you're going to inhale as much air as you can. You're going to feel a little pain right here, a little sting. That's how you know you have enough air. So go ahead and breathe in and hold it as long as you can. And put out. You're going to breathe in. Put out. Bring all of that that's stuck here to your solar plexus region, helping gravity do its job. Your poo. Now in the morning, this wall angel is a great way to start the day. If you had nightmares the night before, you went to bed angry, or you have a big, busy day that's already freaking you out, start out with some wall angels. And even if, Patty, I'm going to ask that you don't demo this one because I know your shoulders are on the fritz sometimes, but if you have limber shoulders, teenagers, I'm talking to you. If you have limber shoulders, go ahead and make some snow angels against the wall. 5 or 10 of those. Go as fast or as slow as you need. When I am having a really bad day, when I know I need to take my son for a blood draw, these are super fast because I have my anger to fuel them. But normally I'm just skimming my way along the wall. Ladies, turn your wedding rings to the inside of your hand so you don't scrape the paint off your wall. I've done that. It's a great follow-up to those wall angels to get you started. Help gravity do its job and get those expectations down into your lymph nodes where it belongs. Let your body do its job. All right, please have a seat again. Because now that I've warmed you up and I have put your body back in balance, you're ready to listen to more. This was the most fun part of teaching. They're like, oh, Mrs. Reuther, how can you teach a 3-hour class, a 4-level class? Oh, watch me. I'm going to keep giving you these little upper exercises every 50 to 60 minutes. Time's going to fly. And before that, they're like, oh, no, I've got like 4 notebooks full of notes. Where'd those come from? I'm like, gotcha. Your lymph nodes and I were like this. But it's fun. It's funny. You're moving around. I used my wall, no equipment, no personal trainer. Anyone can do it. Don't add weights or anything to try to stress out your body. The universe didn't make it that hard to be healthy. I think a lot of us are trying too hard. And when you're in these transitions, you're not exactly rational. And I'm saying this as someone whose crown chakra is going to open in less than a year. It'll be great. I promise. But with some of these tools, you can have those complex thought patterns, the increased empathy, the increased social skills, the more desire for independence at each of these skills, at each of these giant jumps, which are all good, wonderful things. But let's do it without the side effects. Let's do some wall angels and tug on our ears a little bit instead of being Godzilla.
Excellent. Excellent. Definitely, these are something that anybody can do. And, most of us only have a short period of time when, we're working in the corporate America world. So these are definitely beneficial. Talk about a little bit about your books. We want to make sure that we get the word out there about your books. The name of the first one coming out next month. I'm already in March. In April. And tell us a little bit about the other one coming out this fall.
I write with the Wild Rose Press. We write romance novels, but there's also some mystery under the label. And they have a little town that they've created. It's Wilder, Wyoming territory in the 1870s. It's cowboys and ruffians and school marms. And the first book written by my colleague is The Social Club, about the brothel in town. Just fun, lighthearted books. But mine center around Nartan and Ikshu sagebrush. They are Arapaho shaman who have left the reservation because the Arapaho people had their section of the reservation opened in 1874. And so these are two men, two brothers who decided to live the settler life instead of following their destiny. And so I'm in the book, they talk to their spirit guides. They use a lot of the same calming mechanisms that I went through in this talk as they navigate straddling two worlds and discover their destiny, which, you know.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So tell everybody how they can access your books.
My pen name is Marilyn Barr. Barr has 2 R's. And my website is www.marilynbarr.com. Sign up for my newsletter because that's where I list all the sales that I have on my books, as well as new ones coming out. And that's where you get the latest info.
Awesome. Very good. Email address in case anybody wants to email directly. Are you giving that out?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So go for it.
I am Patty Reuther, just like my name says right there, at gmail.com.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Patty, so much for these tips and tricks. They definitely worked me out, got me warmed up, and we look forward to potentially another show with you. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.